Hello and welcome back. Before we get to part 2, Real Talk, please allow us to fulfill our capitalistic duty and plug our Patreon, the Contrarians Supplements.
That's right. For a small fee, you too can help the Contrarians rage on.
We have tiers ranging from just $1 to $10. It all depends on how much content you can handle.
Starting at $1, it's the Travoltis tier, which gets you access to new bonus episodes focusing on a new movie every month, as well as access to the patron chat. Join other patrons in making fun of our opinions.
Moving up to $3 is the Winoni's tier, which unlocks access to our pre-recording notes, our video reviews, and our spin-off show, Contrarians After Hours.
That's a more laid-back space where we talk about other things we've been watching, reading, playing, thinking about. Sometimes it's related to the movies being covered on the main feed, but it usually isn't.
If you want to be part of those patrons who help us shape the show by telling us which movies to tackle, that's when you sign up for the $5 tier, the Embries, and the $10, the Gads.
Finally, all supplement subscribers, regardless of the tier, get access to our archive of special patron projects. Head over to patreon.com/contrarianprime now to join.
Be sure to listen through the end of the episode to find out what's coming up to the Contrarian Supplements this month. Now, it's time for some Real Talk.
Huh? I know a stalker died. Well, it had to happen sooner or later. Yeah, well, it is a contact sport, right? Yeah, see, but you guys are justice. You cannot have it both ways. You want ratings, you want people in front of the TV sets instead of picket lines. Well, you ain't going to get that with reruns of Gilligan's Island. Gilligan's Island. Da, 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 da. Yeah, the one with the boat.
Julio, I know we're talking about the bridge between the adult film industry and mainstream filmmaking. So when I put this lineup together, I did not realize this was going to be our first film, I believe, that featured 2 WWE Hall of Famers in it. So you would think a movie like this, I mean, somewhere subconsciously, that's probably why I figured out a way to insert this into the lineup. But what'd you think of Jesse in this? Let's start there, because Jesse's not going to really be a focus, but we are at a point where we've talked about him plenty. So I'm curious what you thought of Jesse Ventura's performance in this before we get anywhere else.
I think, like in most things I've seen with Jesse Ventura, it left me wanting more.
There you go.
You know, that's not a bad thing, but it is it makes me wonder. I haven't seen Predator in forever. My recollection is that he has more of a character that's there through the entire thing, or at least through longer in the story than, something like Ricochet or Demolition Man. So I'm looking forward to that, because maybe what happens is that, yes, he shines when you give him tiny parts in big movies, but can he hold it for, 30 minutes, 40 minutes of screen time? And that is that I'm curious about that. But here he's fine. I like the character too. I just like the idea that they make you think that he's going to be the final boss. Or at least that was what I thought. I said, oh, he's eventually going to get in front of the camera, as opposed to being retired and he's going to fight Arnold. But instead he tells them to fuck off. And that's it. But you still get to see the fight, but it's just fake. So I like him. I think that he's good. I don't know that this translates into him getting elected to office, but it has to play at least some part of it. There's just the public recognition.
Yeah, it was a couple years after this where he initially entered politics in 91. He was elected mayor of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. So Jesse Ventura, just to clear this up, I don't know if he ever legally changed it, but his real name was James Janos. So using his working name here, not to the hilarious degree of Charles Kalani Jr., known as Toro Tanaka, or Professor Toro Tanaka, which is his billed name in the opening credits of this movie. When it said Professor in front of it, I was like, oh my God. But yes, a famous wrestler in his own right, debuted in 1958 and worked into the 80s. And as I mentioned, both men inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Tanaka, I think it's fair to say, Julio, not really much to review about his performance here. He's just a hitman.
Well, I mean, you just need somebody imposing.
Yeah.
And he works.
He had an imposing frame, wide, built like a fucking refrigerator.
Very appropriate. Right. That's what he was, Sub-Zero, not Fireball.
There you go. Wrestling talk out of the way. Yet another thumbs up for Jesse Ventura in a movie that we discussed. I'm looking at a few of these here that I think would fit pretty well, and I know obviously Batman and Robin would work for us. What else we got here? He's in The Ringer, which I've always thought would be an interesting movie for us to tackle. So I highly doubt this will be the last time we talk about Jesse. Now to the overall subject du jour, The Running Man, the 1987 Paul Michael Glazer film. Were you familiar with any of Glazer's other movies? He only made, looks like 5 films.
It's funny. I looked through everybody's filmographies except his. I want to say no. I told you before, I think the first time that we brought him up, I know that he was Starsky in Starsky and Hutch.
Yes.
So I know that, and I've seen a handful of Starsky and Hutch episodes. The TV show, not the remake or the big screen adaptation with Ben Stiller and is it Owen Wilson?
It is Owen Wilson, yes, sir. Vince Vaughn's the bad guy, I think. Molly Sims is in it. That if you need a timestamp for that movie. He is likely someone. I don't know how we've gone this long without broaching Kazam, the Shaquille O'Neal 1996 fantasy comedy, because he directed that as well. So perhaps one day we'll circle back to the subject of one Paul Michael Glazer and Stephen E. D'Souza, our boy, back on the pen.
Yes, it's wild how many movies of his we've done. That I wrote down.
All right, 48 Hours.
And another 48 Hours. Or unless, does he only get credit for characters in another 48 Hours?
Yes.
Okay.
Did we? No, we didn't do Commando. God, you would hate that movie, Julio.
I've seen it. I mean, when I was a kid.
All right, so 48 Hours, The Running Man. Do we do a full episode on Die Hard?
I did a QVR.
Okay.
On Die Hard. I mean, we did a full episode on. We've talked about A Good Day to Die Hard twice, Alex. We did it on the show with
Jesus.
Chess,
yeah.
and then we did a dual QVR. But then most recently, and on Christmas, I dropped Die Hard QVR, which was actually a lot of fun because I did that. I recorded it and then I edited it on my vacation while I was in Peru for Christmas, and it was good. Like it dropped on Christmas.
Welcome to the party. And then we did 3 in a row. These are sequential for him. Hudson Hawk, Ricochet, and the Flintstones.
Amazing.
Varying reviews on those, but we both give the Flintstones a hearty endorsement. Street Fighter, of course.
Yep.
Judge Dredd.
That might be it.
And there's still, I mean, the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider. I mean, there's still plenty to go. But yeah, he's got to be in the higher tier of writers that we've discussed without doing some sort of like gimmick, you know, like we haven't like strived to tackle the Stephen E. D'Souza's entire body of work. But he penned the, as I learned, Stephen King novel, The Running Man, and led the film to a release on November 13th of 1987. And 59% as it currently stands on Rotten Tomatoes. Julio, which quotes did you pull for us?
I want a kiss now, a big kiss, but remember, no tongues.
Okay, fresh quotes this time around. Some people liked it. I'm going to start with Sebastian Zavala Khan from Me Gusta El Cine, who says, "It may not be as clever as The Terminator or as legendary as the first Predator, but as sort of a satire of humanity's obsession with violence and, of course, of autocratic and aggressive police states, it works quite well."
That's fair.
Not as clever as The Terminator, Alex? Yes. Not as legendary as the first Predator? Yes. But is that, especially the second one, does that have to do with the quality of the movie, or does it have to do with just roll of the dice? If The Running Man had come out before Predator, if it was earlier in Schwarzenegger's career, would it be just...
Well, not just that, but Predator came out in June of 87. So that's what, 5 months before this?
Just completely eclipsed
Yeah.
anything else. You know what's wild? So that was a year that Schwarzenegger had 2 movies, right?
Mhm.
Anne Hathaway has 5 movies coming out in 2026.
Jesus.
I don't think she planned this. I'm sure there were some like delays, but it's incredible. When I found out, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I didn't think we did that anymore, because they make one movie that they care about. Maybe they make 2 in a row, like one that's RC and one that's
made a blood sacrifice to Hollywood, and we will give you 5 films in the year of 2026.
Anyway, Schwarzenegger, Anne Hathaway team up we're all waiting for. Next, Dan Geringer from Philadelphia Daily News says, The Running Man is a first-class Arnold movie, which means it has non-stop comic book action, the Arnold glare, the Arnold deadpan one-liners, some wonderfully bizarre secondary characters, and a bad guy you love to hate.
You like this more or less than Last Action Hero?
More.
Yeah.
There is a simplicity to this movie that Last Action Hero doesn't have. Even though they both, on the surface, have very easy pitches, like the elevator pitch, the high concept. But somehow, you can listen to the Last Action Hero episode. I think that movie overcomplicates itself and to its detriment.
Yeah.
What is the Arnold glare?
Is that like his 1,000-yard stare where he's looking at something in kind of like a far distance? Like, what? What's going on there?
Maybe. There's a lot of that in Conan.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
The Arnold glare is a nice way of referring to it.
I feel like most of the time in this, when it's not like action sequences, he's smiling in this movie. Like even the part where he meets Amber and like covers her mouth up and stuff that he's got, and he's, having to hold her and explain that he's innocent. He's got kind of this smile cracked and whatnot. It's an interesting performance from Arnold. I think all the things you've said so far are right. And again, this is not the Arnold that we would see evolve, but he brings a certain level of levity to this that I think is pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Intoxicating, contagious. There we go.
Just letting everybody know it's okay, guys. I've done this a few times. I win. Next, Fred Lutz from the Toledo Blade says the basic script is.
That's the first time you ever pulled a quote from the Toledo Blade. That was the newspaper my parents got every day when I was a kid. When we lived in Ohio. Yeah. When we lived in Ohio, Toledo was the closest big city. And so, the Toledo Blade was what came to the doorstep every day.
Yeah, you have to ask them if they remember Fred Lutz and his movie hot takes. Because this is a hot take. It says the basic script is substantially better than anything Schwarzenegger has had before, and he makes the most of it.
Okay, well.
Fred.
Having been to Toledo, I can tell you that they don't breed. It's not a Mensa convention there. So it's, I like this movie. I'm pretty high on this movie, but come on. We're not even 5 years removed from the Terminator. I imagine that review is contemporary, and he was like one of the guys leading the charge that the Terminator was overrated.
All right, we're going to close with James Musgrove from IGN Movies, who says, this is perhaps the definitive Arnold Schwarzenegger film. It has the unnecessary violence, the bad puns, the hammy acting, even his signature catchphrase, I'll be back. This one has it all. Unnecessary violence?
Yeah, it's not that, especially compared to like Total Recall or something. Like the violence in this isn't like insane. I think Total Recall is what and I like Total Recall, but that would be what I describe as like the prototypical Arnold movie. You get and you get like the excess and the violence and shit, and you want to talk about hammy acting.
Yes.
Yeah. Not to say that it's not here, but this again. Comparing this to Total Recall, and I like Total Recall, but this movie constantly is aware of how silly it is. And it doesn't beat you over the head with it, but at no point does it like tell you to take it seriously. And I think with Total Recall, that's a movie that's pretty serious about itself. So I would apply that same label. I would just switch it to a different movie.
We might have to cover Total Recall either here on the Patreon, because I don't know that it takes itself that seriously. There's a woman with 3 boobs, like halfway through the movie.
That's fair. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember it being a bit more, I don't know, ham-fisted.
And I wouldn't say, I'm not king-shaming.
That movie made $260 million.
Yeah, it was a big hit. What I mean is like the 3 boobs is not necessarily. I mean, obviously it's like a pretty out there element, but then the whole sequence around the 3 boobs is just. I remember thinking it's comedic, but I could be wrong. I mean, it's been a while since I watched it. The difference I think is that Arnold, that's fully formed Arnold Schwarzenegger in my mind, whereas here in The Running Man, he's not yet fully formed. He's still.
Yeah, you're right. Now I'm thinking about it more, like the dude's eyes popping out and shit. Maybe it's just been too long since I've seen it.
There's a scene, do you remember, in Total Recall where it's revealed that Arnold is going through security or something disguised as a woman, and then he takes the mask off, and it's Arnold?
Oh yeah. Yeah, maybe it's been too long since I've seen it. I'm starting to rethink my thesis here.
But you're right that movie is incredibly violent. It makes something like The Running Man look like a kid's game.
Yeah.
I was laughing at the idea that the violence is unnecessary because the scenario as presented in this movie is like, well, what are you going to do? Talk them out of killing you? I mean, that's the violence is necessary in this case.
Super necessary, as George Masvidal would say.
Super necessary. That's how you make the point of demonizing the people that are behind this show. Anyway, that was the last quote. Before you tell me what the connection is with the porn industry, because I'm at a loss. I don't know. I feel like I knew most of the cast already, and I would be aware if they had a past career before they made it to Hollywood as porn stars. So it might be just one of the like really small characters. But before we get there, before the big reveal, let's finish with Arnold because we've talked about him in previous episodes, and so we've talked about him as a Hollywood persona, but this is obviously somewhere in his career that it's just so interesting what you were saying, that he seems so like the levity that he brings. I think that there's a confidence that was clearly missing from the last time that we talked about him on the show, which was the Conan the Barbarian movie, where he just seemed like he had the presence, but he didn't have that confidence of, I kind of know what I'm doing, that he has here. And I think that translates into that smirk, and that just, I'm not going to say that every quip lands. And in fact, most of them are probably the kind of stuff that make people groan today. But he is delivering them and having so much fun with them. And just it's not just the way that he delivers them, but also the body language and just the way that he carries himself through this entire movie. It's telling you, it's okay. Just go with it. Have fun.
I need to work on my tan anyway. You see, you get so pale in prison.
That is great. I think that, just to go back to Last Action Hero, I think he has that energy in Last Action Hero too. It's just that the movie, it's pushing him to be even more of a comedic performance sometimes, and that's where it gets in trouble. But this is just, I think, man, it hits the spot of just where you need to be for it to be entertaining, to where anytime that I run into something that made little sense or would make me roll my eyes, I felt like it was on me if I let that bother me or get in the way of me enjoying the movie, because the movie had kind of laid the groundwork pretty well for this to be just a fun, don't think about it experience. And Schwarzenegger performance is obviously a big part of that. How easily did you get with the movie as far as like the tone and the expectations?
Quickly. The whole scrolling text at the beginning, and then this was a first time view for me. So the opening scene where Arnold, the chopper thing, and then it was like, okay, all right, what are we doing? And then, but it immediately, like the way the prison system set up, and when it showed like what they watch on TV, and by the time it gets to Jesse Ventura's like workout video, and you see like what the tone of it is, I was like, okay, I'm all in on this. I think, you brought up Conan the Barbarian, and one of the things we talked about in that is, I don't remember if I verbalized it this exact same way, but Arnold almost seems like nervous.
Yeah.
Like you see him in that, and he seems like an actor that is like consistently conscious of, okay, this is the line I have coming up when they are done saying that, and okay, I want to make sure I'm on my mark. And here, like, he's having fun. And probably, after Predator, which is a movie that he doesn't really have, there's one-liners, but it's not so silly like it is here. And it's a very intense movie that he probably did relish the opportunity to make something like this, and it really shows. So the beginning is kind of intense, and it took me about like 4 or 5 minutes to kind of figure out, what the tone we're going for is going to be here. And then when I saw the potential elements of commentary that were going to be done in a satirical way and not, beaten over the head with it, I was like, oh, okay, this is great. And it took me a little bit to get over how horrifyingly relevant some of the aspects were. But then once I did, I was like, all right, we're having fun.
Did you know kind of the bare bones concept of The Running Man? Of it being a reality show where people would watch it or watching convicts? Kind of.
Yes. Yeah, I knew like that was the idea of it. And I mean, I knew a lot about this movie. Like I said, I'd seen Jesse's like scenes before and whatnot, but it's just one of those movies I never saw, start to finish. So, yeah, Arnold, oh man, it's, we've talked about so many different actors and actresses on here, but his evolution is just always such a fascinating. I mean, his life story is obviously extremely fascinating, but his evolution as an actor is always a fascinating point of discussion for me. And here, yeah, it shows, I think, some of the elements that Last Action Hero would rely on, even something like Jingle All the Way, like his delivery of some of the things in that movie, some of his lines in that movie. I think this was, look, I'm not going to overstate it and say this is some sort of transformative performance, but when you put it in the context, if you looked at like a timeline of his acting career and you saw where this was, where what he was known as an actor, I think it's a fairly, not layered, but probably a performance that retrospectively it deserves more credit than it gets.
The thing is that he went on to make movies that were so much bigger and so much more relevant and more impactful.
You ever heard of Terminator 2?
Running Man? What's that? Is there a Terminator in it?
Killian, I'll be back.
So tell me, who's the porn star here? Where's the connection?
Okay. So I had to get creative with this because I've wanted to do this movie. And when I initially laid out this lineup, I didn't know if we would do one exclusively to our patron. So there's not expressly an adult actor or actress in this movie, but there is a relation. Okay. There's a correlation. There's a tie. Our lead female in this, Maria Conchita Alonso, has a niece named Antonella Alonso, who is known by her working name, La Serena 69, who is one of the more, I guess, popular porn stars of current pornography.
Current, not the 80s.
Correct. So she is a pornographic actress, model, and she also does, what's that called? Twitch. She does like streaming and whatnot. Her Instagram, she has over 3 million followers. So she's quite popular. And it looks like she does like some actual modeling and whatnot. But she is the niece of Maria Alonso. Is there a chat function here? Yeah, I'll send you a picture of her so you can see if you think she looks like her or not. But Antonella Alonso, 35 years old. It sounds pretty standard story of she just started some modeling and then began selling nude photos and then moved to Los Angeles. And in Los Angeles, she met a porn star who put her in contact with the adult industry, and that's the way she started her career there. In 2020, Alonso was nominated for Best New Starlet at the AVN Awards and in the Most Popular Female Newcomer category at the third edition of the Pornhub Awards. In February 2021, she was named Pet of the Month by Penthouse Magazine. She also received an AVN Award in the Best Female Revelation category. She's appeared on the cover of magazines such as UB Magazine and modeled for photographers such as Mike Tan. I found one interview from the year of 2021 in which Maria Conchita Alonso discussed her niece, who was in the adult film industry. This is from elferrandi.com. It's dated March 31st of 2021. In recent days, and this is translated from Spanish, so if any of it sounds off, that's why. In recent days, the Venezuelan-American artist Maria Conchita Alonso confessed in an interview on the segment Pájaros en el Alambre of the program Sale el Sol. Am I saying those words right?
Close enough. Birds on the Wire. That's what it means, which is a weird name.
She confessed that her niece is a famous and well-known actress in the adult film industry. Conchita said, "She's my niece. It's true. I have a niece who does porn. That's her world. What am I going to do? As long as I don't do it, everything is fine." That makes her happy. To each their own. Alonso made it clear that her niece enjoys doing her job and that she's really close with the relative. She wanted to. I told that to my brother when he came to Miami and talked to her, asking, why does she do that? That she doesn't need to, this and that. And I said, because she likes it a lot. Despite making it clear that she has no problem with Antonella Alonso's profession, better known as La Sirena 6'9", she confessed that she's never seen her work and has her blocked on social media because, quote, she shows everything. She is happy. My brother is the one who, well, she's his little girl's baby, but she told me that her mother supports her a lot. So far, the adult film actress has not commented on the statements made by her aunt, but she continues to leave more than one person breathless with her steamy photos and sensual videos. I messaged Antonella Alonso on her social media, and
I
asked,
applaud your commitment.
I just said, hey, I'm doing a project on The Running Man. My understanding is this is your aunt. I'm just curious what your favorite movie of hers is. Because then my idea was like, we could do that movie,
Uh-huh.
She currently replied that she doesn't discuss family matters like that. And to me, it was an innocuous question. At the same time, I cannot begin to fathom the things someone like that gets messaged to them on a daily basis and the things they get asked, So the fact they got a response was cool. So left it at that. In this same interview, Maria Conchita Alonso would go on to say that we were living in a plandemic and that COVID was not a real thing and orchestrated by the government.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Why would you keep going? We were having so much fun. I was about to praise how open-minded she was. Yeah, now
it is a very strange thing, right? In the same interview to be like, I support my niece who does pornography, and then be like, science isn't real. But yeah, not even like a deep dive into her political beliefs becomes quite like, oh boy.
That is very disheartening.
She was big on John McCain in 2008, and then appears to be a supporter of Donald Trump, which at least in these parts is never considered a good thing. But yeah, so when I found that connection, I was like, we can do The Running Man now. So that is what brought us to the table here, Julio.
Obviously, this is just the one picture. I don't think that they look, I don't see a resemblance, but of course it's not her daughter, it's her niece. So
it's not like Rosemary Clooney and George Clooney, where it's like those people are clearly related. So anyway, to just conclude real quick on Maria Conchita Alonso, to stress Julio's point, an accomplished actress in her own right, but also a bunch of albums that ranging from the 70s to, within the past decade. Had some singles that would hit the charts for Latin music. Also in 1975 was named Miss World Venezuela.
Oh, wow.
She was the first runner-up, and then she placed in the top 7 at the Miss World 1975 pageant. So she clearly had movie star looks, and in this movie in particular, similar to Arnold, appears to kind of have a grasp of the tone of the movie, and always kind of has a smile going as well. She's perfectly fine in this.
Yeah, that is. I'm trying really hard to just put aside what I've learned about her beliefs and trying to forget about the word plandemic, at least until we're done with this recording. But
so yeah, the only other person I'd ever heard use the term plandemic with sincerity was Tito Ortiz, and that should give you all you need to know in terms of like the mental acumen of those people. Yeah.
Trying to put that aside, I think she's good. I think that the shortcomings are more with the writing, not the performance. That is not her movie, and she is there. It was the 80s, so of course she was there mostly so that Arnold would have somebody to kiss at the end, and it was not going to be a dude, so it had to be an actress.
Yeah. And not surprisingly, she's flaunted the law and traditional morality all of her life.
Go ahead, tell some lies about me now.
We don't lie. Phil, tell us all about her.
I think it's cool that they picked a Hispanic actress. I didn't know she was from Venezuela. That's awesome. I like that in the 80s they put this Venezuelan actress right there, right next to Arnold Schwarzenegger in a whole bunch of like big guys to be part of an action movie, and she holds her own. She is the damsel in distress more often than not, but
Yeah.
she does get to kill Dynamo, and she kind of saves the day by having the tape. She has enough agency to, on her own, decide that she's going to expose the truth, or at least go looking for the truth after she starts figuring out that Arnold was framed. I don't know how much of this is from the book. My understanding from like what I've seen here and there is that the Glenn Powell, Edgar Wright, Running Man is more like the book, even though it still changed a lot from the book. And this movie is not very much like the Glenn Powell Running Man, which makes you think that this is not like the book at all. So I don't know if King gets any credit for having the Maria Conchita Alonso character be like she is in this movie. But whoever would get credit, take it, because I think it's cool. I think that we were not at the point where we had to figure out what else to do. We have this sort of badass woman in the middle of this scenario, but what do we do with her when she's not crying for help? When she's not sneaking around to find like a tape or something? Because it's the Arnold show. I mean, and this applies also to his sidekicks. The guy from Freddy's Dead, and then the guy that we didn't know from anything else.
Yeah, they exist to get killed, so Arnold has motivation.
Yes. The other guy, one of them does find the code, but even then, it's just so he can give the code to Maria Conchita Alonso.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot. It's just Arnold front and center as far as like the heroics for the most part, and that's fine. But yeah, do you think she has chemistry with Arnold, or is it just so inconsequential that it doesn't really register?
I thought that, and then in the end, I was like, the kiss felt so like earned and like, yeah, like, kind of like pump my fist. And so I guess there was some underlining chemistry that I bought into that. Maybe it just took a little while. But
I'll posit this to you, Alex. What you were feeling was not chemistry between them. You were feeling chemistry between yourself and the 80s. Because I think that's
that's fair.
There's a template in our brain for how this type of movie is supposed to work. And I mean, I was expecting the kiss, maybe not framed exactly the way it was framed, but I'm like, this movie is going to end up with them hooking up.
Yeah.
And so I just hope it's tasteful. Which
I was also just like losing my shit over that closing shot. I was like getting mad. I was just like, we don't do this anymore. And, it's obviously part of it's shooting on film because of the shadowing and the lights register differently. And just like the way it was framed and like I went and saw that fucking Faces Death movie and I really liked it. I really enjoyed that. But that whole movie looks like it's shot on a fucking cell phone. And, that's the norm now. It's either that or... You can argue with me all you want, but your Marvel movies, Julio, a scene like that would not have been shot in an actual built corridor with real lighting. It would have been like on a sound or on in front of a green screen or something. And look, I understand
they're kissing on top of Valhalla or something.
Yeah.
So.
On Mars, the
Yes.
fucking the guy who watches Watchmen and gets mad that they didn't actually construct a Mars set. I understand. It's not how we do it anymore, or by and large, it's not the norm. But just the idea of a run-of-the-mill movie to have a closing shot like that looks so fucking good, and is then immediately kind of just soured with that ridiculous power ballad that starts playing over it. But yeah, that's definitely fair. That's the expectation of this is the movie I've watched. This is how it's going to end. It ends that way, and I go yay. But yeah, I didn't think they had any anti-chemistry, but we've just seen examples with Arnold of him having, I think, a bit more rat-a-tat with someone opposite him. But she doesn't seem out of place in this movie, which could, like you said, to your point, could have easily been if they like tried to lean into her being Hispanic or, like really tried to make her a caricature. I agree with what you said. It's pretty cool that with all these big lumbering white dudes, they found a Hispanic woman that they just put right there to stand next to him, and she doesn't seem out of place.
Yeah, she's there's random outbursts of Spanish, but I never felt that they were a joke. It just felt like that was her character. She's gonna burst into Spanish every now and then.
Okay, now out of place is a scene that she's involved in, and we need to discuss.
All right, yeah, let's talk about that, because I was gonna ask you about your theory about the audience reaction, but this needs to be addressed before we move
on. Not unlike our last entry, 52 Pickup, which of course tonally was a much different movie, but the subject remains. a completely and wholly unnecessary insertion of the topic of rape in this. It's probably even more offensive than in 52 Pickup because, like, 52 Pickup utilizes that to show you how bad the bad guy is. It's still stupid and not needed. But here there's this extremely bizarre moment in which Amber, Mary Conchita Alonso, and another female character appear to be like fantasizing the idea of being assaulted by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Only the friend. I didn't think that Maria Conchita Alonso was doing it.
That's fair. Yes. Regardless.
Or maybe I just didn't want to believe it.
Regardless, not good.
No.
In a very strange derailing moment of this movie that I was like, what? And not just one of those things of, well, you know, that's just how they used to make movies. It's just because it's so out of place and inconsistent with everything else in the movie. It just felt like this very strange insertion of this moment to, I don't know necessarily to degrade women, but to like a male writer thinking this is how women talk to each other or something like that. It's very bizarre, Julio.
Even if it was like two dudes having the conversation, it would still feel so boneheaded.
Yeah.
It's such a charged word. And you have them like just dropping it, the idea of it in a very, it's like a nothing scene too, because the whole thing is he walks past her, so they see each other. That's how they know, you know, he knows that she's there after they've had their big thing at the airport. And then
that's what I meant about the 52 Pickup part. Like, the argument can be made that our villain in that it's, I'm doing air quotes with this, needed because it wants to establish how big of a scumbag he is. There is nothing anyone could tell me to justify why this scene is in this movie.
Yes. Thankfully, it has no payoff. There's no pickup on it. That's it. This is the one reference to a woman that I guess, I don't even know what it's trying to say, Alex, because what she's saying is, oh, you're lucky he didn't rape you and then kill you, or kill you and then rape you. Which is, as dialogue goes, it's like kind of dumb to put in a movie like this. But then the delivery and the way it's framed, it's like this woman is saying it, but thinking that would be kind of cool because he's so hot.
Because she's also like eyeing Arnold up and down while she says it. Yeah.
Boy, lucky he didn't kill you too. Or rape you and kill you. Or kill you then rape you.
Where the fuck did that come from? How did it get past every single person in the process of making it to the screen? Because you would think a producer, an editor, somebody would be like, why don't we just cut this?
Like, even if it made it to the point of it was shot,
right?
As a director, you should probably go, you know, this doesn't really have any merit to the rest of the movie.
It's not that type of movie. You make that joke in like fucking Eurotrip. It was the wrong decade.
Yes. All jokes aside, like that's legitimately something Rob Zombie would watch and go, I'm making the sound of him scribbling notes on.
That is 100% something Rob Zombie would put in a movie.
All right. So now to the audience reaction.
Yes. I have an opening salvo, and then I want to hear what
Arnold fatigue?
No, not at all. Not at all. I guess my talking point comes from us today. And I think that there is a good chance that you and I specifically react positively to this type of movie because of what we were talking about just a little bit ago, which was that the tropes of the 80s, we see them as endearing at this point. You know, I mean, this still has to be at least a decent movie, but there are some things that this movie does that my brain instantly goes like, well, yeah, because it was made in the 80s. So, you know, when that power ballad comes out at the end, I just kind of smile and let it go. You know, when Arnold's deliver his quips and whenever there's bad puns, whenever the bad guys are like really clunky, like all that stuff, I can just let it pass and just embrace how silly and, you know, bad in quotation marks it is, just because it's a movie from the 80s. Yeah. So that's something that in 2026 I can just really watch as a curiosity and as something that is amusing. And so my experience watching this movie, you know, if I had been in a movie theater and I was my current age, but it was like, you know, I was watching in 1987, I probably wouldn't have had that same reaction. There's nothing endearing about it. Instead, it's just like, oh, this is kind of dumb. I don't know that in the future I'm going to come to maybe not just respect this type of filmmaking, but also maybe miss it, because it's just going to be so forgotten in a way or so faded away that now it's precious. It's some things are precious about it. But back then, people were just going to see an action movie, and I wouldn't blame anybody for walking out of the Running Man 1987 edition, much in the way that I walked out of the Running Man 2025 edition and thinking, that was really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And I've seen the main actor in much better movies. So that is my, what I'm thinking it could have maybe happened at least a little bit. I think that he set himself up he had to come down at some point. If he had the Terminator and he had Predator, at some point he was going to make a movie that didn't live up to those standards. You think, though, that the Predator just completely saturated the audience as far as how much Arnold they could take in 1987?
No, that was a joke.
Okay.
I think that, in my opinion, didn't really have much to do with it. I will go even deeper, and I will say we're in 1987, and going real deep on this. I made a point to pull up both the 1984 and 1988 presidential election results.
Oh my God.
Because
rubbing my hands here.
Because in 87, we're nearing the end of the Reagan era. And I always remember this one because, a lot of people do, but it's when Reagan won in 1984, he ran against Walter Mondale, and Ronald Reagan won 49 states. That was and he won the popular vote by almost 20 million additional votes. Like, he dominated. And then we go to 88, which is, of course, after this movie, but it's coming off the heels of the Reagan era, and his vice president, George H.W. Bush, bumps up into the main spot. And it was a bit closer when he ran against Dukakis, but he still ended up winning 40 states and won the popular vote by, give or take, about 7 million votes. I think that the tone of American society at the time and the thought of what was going on, I think there were definitely people who were smart and in the moment and said, hey, this Reaganomics shit isn't going to fucking work. But there was an overall embedded sense of optimism throughout the 80s that would come crashing down into the 90s and then completely fragment us as people come the 2000s and 2010s. So I think the placement of this movie and what it depicts, as relevant as a lot of it may become, we had a lot of fun in Contrarians Corner, but there's I said it, if the current president had his way, I'm not saying he would, necessarily, he would roll a show out like this if he could, but
100% he would.
But the controlling media, that's already in play. And, banning things that don't align with the public narrative. And, dude, it's scary, the AI thing too, of much like this movie, the contempt that the producers and directors of this show have for their audience by making this fake shit and putting it out in front of them. Gestures broadly, that with the AI that's put out, that I can't imagine how many. That's what Facebook has become. It's just like a land of videos that are largely fake and meant to rile up a certain segment of the population. What I'm trying to get at is, I think a lot of the ideas that this story contains became a reality, but in 1987, people weren't trying to hear about this shit. Even though it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and even though there's a pretty girl and action galore, and hey man, that Jesse Ventura's in that movie. You remember him? I think the story this tells was told at a time when society was not ready for it. And again, this movie didn't make fucking $2 million and completely bankrupt the studio. It went over its budget. Again, to remind folks, $27 million budget, box office of $38 million. But dare I say the story was a little too complex for audiences at the time. This could be completely asinine, and I could be wrong, but I watch a movie like this and I think of where the general temperament of American society was at the time, and what, they would turn out in droves to lap up. And I don't see this being one of those things.
That's a really interesting idea because, I'm looking at his filmography, and this could arguably be called the first Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that has even a tinge of politics in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that would track. Looks like in 1988, he made a movie called Red Heat, which I'm assuming has to do with Russia.
Get him, Arnie.
Yeah. But I haven't seen Raw Deal, but Commando, Red Sonja, Terminator, Conan the Destroyer, Conan the Barbarian. I don't think that there's a whole lot of political satire in any of them. And they're good movies, some of them. I mean, I love the Terminator.
Red
Obviously.
Heat's the buddy cop movie he made with fucking Jim Belushi.
Albanian superstar Jim Belushi.
Sick. Yeah. So comparatively speaking, Julio, the next year he would come out with the movie Twins with him and Danny DeVito. $220 million. And I guess to kind of further, in my mind, nail my point home here, the top grossing films of 1987, the year this movie was released, were Three Men and a Baby and Fatal Attraction and Beverly Hills Cop 2. So that's what folks were in the market for.
What about those bank robbers? Once made that suicide pact?
Did they commit suicide?
Obviously not, Damon.
Then they're unreliable.
But Julio, this is our podcast, so the public sentiment, the critical sentiment don't matter as much as our sentiment. And I'm happy because I get the idea you liked this movie. Oh, shit. One thing I wanted to call out, I'll talk about other trivia and the video game that came along with this on the YouTube portion of this. But Paula Abdul choreographed all the dance sequences for like the halftime and like the pre-show stuff.
Yeah. I wanted to call out that at some point because there's completely. It just looked like so much fun.
Yeah.
Everybody, I mean, if you kind of turn a blind eye to the awful violence and murder that's taking place, that game show it looked like a good time. And I love that when they first bring Arnold out, they make him walk past the dancers and the dancers are doing their moves in front of him.
Yeah.
Just like a whole thing. That's good. That's an all-star behind the scenes and in front of the camera. Before I hit you with my score, Alex, actually, you do yours first, because mine requires some explaining.
Okay. Okay. This is like a dead center B for me. Keeping in mind, it's not a B in the way, some other movies I've rated that would be. It's such like a composition of good 80s filmmaking. And I enjoyed it while I watched it, but even more so throughout the course of this discussion, make me realize how much I enjoy Arnold's performance in this. And all the supporting players have their merit. We called out the one part of the movie that was like, man, what the fuck? But, Kurt Fuller's good. We put him over in Contrarians Corner, but Richard Dawson's really good. And
Yeah.
So, yeah, I enjoyed this greatly. This is, even like comparing it to Predator, which is a classic. Don't get me wrong. I love Predator. But 5 years from now, Rainy Saturday, the two movies in front of me are Predator, Running Man. I might put this on instead because there's a bit more like, it's not even a wink and a nod, but it's just like an understanding of what it is. And that could all be us projecting too, or you and I projecting in the year of 2026, watching this and going like, see, this is fun. Could have been at the time. They could have made this movie and they presented it. It was supposed to be as serious as Gone with the Wind. But, we watch it now and we don't see that. We just see a really fun time. So, yeah, I'll give this a dead center B.
Maria Conchita Alonso leading in for the kiss and Arnold hits her with, frankly, my dear. I don't give a damn.
Frankly, my dear, I'll be back.
I've been giving it a whirl in my head because I knew as soon as it was over, probably even before it was over, I'm like, I am very biased because of the thing that we already mentioned. Two things that we already mentioned. One, that there's an 80s movie that now is experienced through that filter. It has that shine of a beloved relic. And that doesn't apply to every 80s movie. There are 80s movies that just don't work for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this one has like the right combination of elements, actors that I know, actors that I like, a good concept, like the high concept. I find it really interesting. I thought, because I've never seen this movie before either, I thought it was going to be a little bit more Smash TV. Are you familiar with the Smash TV video game, Alex? Who would later be released as Super Smash TV. Okay.
Sick reference.
Whenever I thought of The Running Man, I thought it was a little bit more like that. Not quite, but there is some elements, and I just like that idea. The cold-bloodedness of a TV show that is about people And it's not the only iteration of that. Forget Hunger Games, forget Battle Royale. Is it Death Race? The one that's also prisoners, convicts that are put in this race where they all die?
Death Race, yeah, good call.
So there's that. There's also the new Running Man effect, which I was not getting into this corner. It experienced its Rise of Skywalker cycle, and then Elizabeth Town, this movie, that I hadn't even seen. This Running Man knows it's dumb. That Running Man doesn't know it's dumb, and it makes all the difference. So anyway, all I'm saying is that I watched this movie, and it was very much influenced by those things. And then in addition, the extra special element is that I think that this movie is a lot more fun to watch when you know you're going to talk about it after. So I was there and I was writing my notes and I was laughing because I'm like, I can't wait to do a bit about this. I can't wait to hear what Alex is going to say about this. So I'm giving it 3.5 stars. I think that honestly, if you are not going to record a podcast about it right after, maybe it's 3 stars.
Yeah.
If none of these things that help me enjoy the movie more apply to you, so if you haven't seen the new Running Man, or maybe you saw it and you liked it, if you don't have a particular interest in movies from the 80s, they don't really like tickle you in any way, then maybe this is going to get on your nerves. There is a part that's really, really like the dumbness of it.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it reaches peak dumbness. It is when Maria Conchita Alonso runs into this room. She finds the bodies of the people that are supposed to be past winners, and it turns out that they're dead there. One, it's really dumb that they would still be there. But then, more importantly, Fireball comes in, Jim Brown walks in on her, and is about to kill her. And, he's like, yeah, they didn't win. They died. This whole thing is being broadcast. So you're telling me that Jim Brown just revealed to the audience that they were lying, that the producer was lying when he said that the previous winners were like living it up on an island or whatever. It's never addressed. And if I had to justify it, I would be like, oh, well, because they have the technology to change that and, edit it before it comes out. They're not really broadcasting live. But that kind of thing is something that I would get really hung up on if the movie was not as entertaining and if I wasn't giving it all the 80s breaks that I was giving it. So
That's fair.
So it's probably a 3-star movie, but it's a 3.5 experience for me.
Hell yeah.
So overall, it was good. We're doing really well this summer, Alex. So far.
Well, we'll see. As we move to our next film is a 1999 French art house film written and directed by Catherine Breillat, Breillat. Hopefully before we record, I'll learn how to pronounce it properly. Romance is the name of this. Currently residing on Tubi. Just to forewarn you, I think we're moving into a bit more of an explicit film. It's a sex-heavy movie, so.
It's still sex!
I remember reading Ebert's review for this one time, and I think it said something tantamount to like, it's not hard to figure out who the porn star is in this movie. So, but yeah, we'll be getting a bit more artsy with the next entry as Romance. Check it out on Tubi.
49% on Rotten Tomatoes. Is that
Yes,
it,
sir.
right?
Yeah.
1999? Okay. 45% popcorn meter. Oh, no.
Oh, competing.
Reaganomics strike again.
Very, very pretentious poster too on this bad boy. But yeah, we're off to a good start. So we'll make a layover in the land of the art house.
Okay. Well, in case you want to check out some of the other stuff that we reference here, we had a Last Action Hero episode back in July 2022. It's just like a bonus episode. We did an End of Days episode. That's very, very different Arnie on that one. That's on our Patreon. Conan, episode 250. That was more recent. And then if you want to go for like the biggest thing, February 2020, Alex, right before lockdown, we sat down remotely with our friend Chaz Fisher and we did the Terminator Extravaganza. We talked about every Terminator movie. We've talked about Arnold a lot, we said. We also talked a lot about Steven DeSouza's work. So that Die Hard QVR on Patreon is pretty recent from last Christmas. Judge Dredd is episode 217. The Flintstones is episode 193. Ricochet, just a couple episodes later, 195. Street Fighter and 48 Hours are really early Contrarians episodes. Listen at your own peril. You can do the search on our website. Demolition Man is on Patreon also. And then you kind of have to, if you are curious, I guess, you have to listen to our No Holds Barred episode, which was April 2020, our first lockdown episode.
Yes.
I don't know if you need to watch the movie, but I also don't know if the conversation is going to make sense if you haven't seen the movie. So it's kind of like a catch-22. It's up to you. You're adults. You can figure out what you want to do. On our Patreon channel, we have an After Hours where we talked about the 2026 movies. Not that I watched 2026 movies made in the year 2026 that I've watched so far. I ranked them for Alex. Alex told me about his trip to a horror convention where he got 2 pretty cool signatures on a Friday the 13th. Jason Takes Manhattan poster, which then later I had the opportunity to see in real life. So it's exciting stuff. We also have a bonus Patreon episode on the Japanese musical super drama Memories of Matsuko, which Alex, we're going to have to create a new segment, maybe for Patreon only. I think we're going to call it Contrarians Ball Drops. And it's going to be whenever we have to issue a correction or maybe just atone for something that we didn't catch. In this case, Memories of Matsuko was directed by the same filmmaker that did Confessions. And neither of us brought it up. Yeah. You bet your ass that Ryan, who demanded that movie, brought it up after he listened to the episode.
No surprise there.
Yes, this was on After Hours from way back. We're catching up on some of those old ones where I tell you about the movie September 5th and the movie Men, Women, and Children. And we also have a talk about The Birdcage, that movie with Robin Williams, Gene Hackman, Diane Wiest, Nathan Lane, and so on. My QVR for JCVD is out. I finally found a version that was not dubbed in English. It was the original, so I could hear JCVD's actual voice. And as of this recording, of course, the only Julia de Matches that is out is the first one, the Bianca Belair versus Asuka commentary. But I want to say by the time this drops, we'll have the second one out. But at this point, we haven't even decided. We haven't put out the poll yet, so can't tease it any more than that. Lots of stuff on our Patreon channel, patreon.com/Contrarian Prime. Go there, use the search button, and find everything I just told you about, and also scroll down the list to see other stuff that we have there. Alex, that's it. Let's get out of here.
Take care, y'all. Welcome to our end credits.
Or as we usually call them, our perennial plugs.
We start off by giving thanks to the Festive Years who provide our opening and closing tracks. They kick us off with Last Stand and take us home with Summer of 99. Be sure to head over to thefestiveyears.com for any and all Festive Years needs.
Our friend and fellow podcaster Hans Rothgieser is the man behind our logo and all the art you see related to our show. Reach out to him and let him know how much you like that little tomato. His email address is mildemonios@hotmail.com and his website is mildemonios.pe. That's MILDEMONIOS. Hans, thank you for all your support.
For those interested in the regularly absurd world of professional wrestling, Joe and the boys over at latenightgrin.com have you covered. Tell them the Contrarians sent you.
And we like to close with special thanks to our social media team of Zoe Perez and Corey Ari. Each of the social media accounts we mentioned in the introduction look as good as they do because of their work.
So that'll do it for this episode of The Contrarians, where we're right and you're wrong, and we will catch you next time. Just for old time's sake, I really don't care who you see and how much money you make together.